We're now on Dcad lesson 14A, and we're revisiting the elevation drawings that we created back on lessons 10A and 10B. And we're going to flesh those elevation drawings out a little bit and add our sheet notes to them. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to open a file, and I'm going to open up our working drawing, which is D0614W1, and our working drawing has almost everything in it. And I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And we already have sheet notes over here in our working drawing, for various things, the floor plan and stuff. And we're going to actually be taking sheet notes from our A2 drawing and bringing them back into our working drawing, just so we have everything in our working drawing. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit L for layers, and I'm going to go down to our elevation layers, which start in layer 45 for new elevations. You can see it right here. And you can see that we have content in layer 45, 47, 49, and 51. Those are our primary elevation layers. And so first thing I'm going to do is make 45 my current active layer. And I'm going to hit the hide all button so it gets rid of everything else. And so now I'm just going to click down below that, layer 46, and hold down Control Shift and click all the way to layer 52, and that selects all of those layers down to it. Right click on it and unlock the highlighted layers. And the other thing I need to do is to scroll up, and I'm going to activate my filters here and just click on active or name layers only, so we don't have so much. We don't have 2,000 layers to try to navigate through. So the other layers that I need to have up and available are our exterior opening layers, and I also need to have our drawing border and title layers up, because what we're going to do is we're going to import an additional pile of sheet notes that we're going to utilize in these drawings. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll on down to our title and border layers, layer 253 and 254, and then click and just hold down Control and click on both of those. Right click and unlock highlighted layers, and then click OK. So now we have our our border up and title up and all that stuff. So the other thing we need to do, that we're going to need to do, is we're going to need to put some documentation on these elevation drawings. And so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just borrow a title from layer 2. Hit L for layers, scroll up to layer 2, and just activate that temporarily, and click OK. And I'm going to scroll down here and just steal the floor plan, and I'm going to zoom up when I hit Z for zoom. I'm just going to borrow the floor plan and scale information from this title in layer 2, and hit Control W and then hit N for duplicate. I'm just going to put it down here below my front layer, and hit Escape to unselect that previous selection, and select the floor plan title down here, and I'm going to activate the info box. And I'm going to, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change it, its layer to layer 46, which is the text layer for this front layer here. And actually it's our north elevation. And so I'm going to click on layer 46, and now I'm going to zoom up over here, hit Z for zoom, and zoom up on my elevation here. I'm going to create a V just to keep my scale in place, my scale text in place. Hit V for vector. Right click at the lower right corner of the floor plan text there. Come down a ways and just left click to set a point, and then right click at the front of scale, and then hit my scroll button to activate the command. What that does is that will maintain this space between the larger title text and this smaller scale text. So now I can click on the select the floor plan there, and you can see up here it's in layer 46. So what I want this to be, this is going to be our north elevation, so I'm just going to select that text in the info box and turn on caps and just type in north elevation and hit enter. So now I'm going to right click on our little V we created, and then just click near the scale text there and hit M for move, and just now I'm going to right click the lower right hand corner of the north elevation text. And so it places that scale information at the right distance from the north elevation text. I can click somewhere in the drawing to unselect, and I'm going to right click now and select our V. And actually I'm going to leave that on for now, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this same text on all three remaining elevations. So I'm going to hit Control W and pull my info box out of the way. And so now I'm going to select this title, and actually I'm going to select it with a handle off to the side a little bit further, so that way I won't. And I'm going to hit N and then right click on my handle, and then I'm going to hit R for rotate and hit Tab and then type 90 and hit Enter, and I'm going to hit N and just move this over to our east elevation. Just kind of set it there. Hit Control R to regenerate the drawing. And now I'm going to hit N. Now I'm going to hit R to rotate this again. And Tab and then 90 and rotate it again. And now I'm going to scroll up here and hit N to duplicate it an additional time over here on our south elevation. And then I'm going to hit R to rotate it again and hit Tab and then 90 and Enter. And now I'm just going to hit M for move and just move the text over here for our west elevation. So we have, it's saying north elevation everywhere, and so we obviously need to change all of that. And we also have, I'm going to scroll out just a little bit further. Control W, there we are. Hit Escape. So this all says north elevation, but we're going to change that, and we're also going to change the layers. Now the elevation for the front elevation, I usually call it, is layer 45, and its text is in layer 46. The layer for the left elevation, in this case it's our east elevation, is layer 47, and its text is in layer 48. And then so on and so forth. Our rear elevation, which is our south elevation, is going to be layer 49, and its text will be in layer 50. And then, last but not least, layer 51 for the elevation, and then layer 52 for the text. So what I can do is I can right-click and get rid of this V down below on the front elevation. I no longer need that, and hit Delete. So now I'm going to zoom up on this one that's on its side. And this will be our east elevation. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all of this first and foremost and activate the info box. And I want all of this text to be in layer 48. Scroll up here and down just a little bit and click on layer 48, and that puts the text in layer 48. Now I'm going to select the text itself, and I'm going to select just the north word and type in east and hit Enter. Now you can see that it pulled a little bit further away from the scale text. So now I'm going to click in the drawing to unselect that and right click on my V there, my positioning V, and hold down Shift and also select the scale, and I'm going to hit M for move and right click at the bottom, which would be the right bottom of the east elevation title there. Hit Escape, select my V and hit Delete to get rid of that. Control W. I'm going to complete the going around the entire drawing here on all the elevation drawings. I'm going to hit Z for zoom and zoom up to my rear elevation, which is also going to be the south. And I'm going to select all of that. And so that wants to be in layer 50. So I'm going to scroll up to 50, which is text for the rear elevation, in this case our south elevation. And I'm going to place all of that in layer 50 now. And now I'm going to just click on the drawing somewhere to unselect it. Right click on the north elevation text, and that's now going to be south elevation. So I'm going to select north and type in south and hit enter. So you can see that it's actually pretty close to the position it previously was with the north elevation, because the words are north and south are almost the same size. I'm still going to right click on the V here, and also hold down shift and click near the scale text and select those. Hit M just to move it out of the way, and just left click somewhere, and then I'm going to hit M again and right click. The reason I moved it out of the way so it doesn't get confused with other points. So I'm going to right click now on the which should be the lower right hand corner if we were right side up, on south elevation. Right click there, and that moves our scale text into place. Hit escape, right click on the V, and hit delete. And control W now. So now we only have the remaining west elevation to deal with. And I'm hitting Z for zoom. And I'm going to zoom up on this area right here. And I'm going to select it all. And this I'm going to want to have in layer 52. So I select it all and scroll up to layer 52. Just going to, a little bit too far. Put that all in layer 52, which is done utilizing the info box. And now I'm going to just click elsewhere to unselect, and I'm going to select the north elevation text and just select the word north one more time and type west and hit enter. Okay, so once again, it's pulled it away from our spacing V, we'll call it. And I'm just going to hit escape, or click somewhere in the drawing to unselect, and I'm going to right click on the V and hold down shift and also click near the scale text and hit M for move, and right click at what will be the lower right hand corner of the title text, and then hit escape, click on the V, hit delete, hit control W. So now we have our title text on each of the elevation drawings. And I may end up moving this title text a little bit because it's down kind of low and occupies more space than we really need. So I'm going to just do that right now. Get it a little closer to the actual drawing. And the reason is, I'm going to do each one of these, select them one by one, and hit M for move, and move them just a little closer to the drawing. And I may move them again when we actually position these elevation drawings. Hit M for move it up just a little bit tighter, and hit escape, then select this west elevation text and hit M for move and bring it up close also. And the reason is we're putting these elevation drawings on our site plan, and we don't have a whole lot of room, so we want to consolidate things and not take up any more space than we absolutely need to. Now, so one of the things that we want to take a look at, I'm hitting Z for zoom, and a couple things we're going to need to do. Zoom up a little bit closer on our text here, and I want to see what layer this sheet note legend is in. This current sheet note legend. So I'm just going to right click on that, and I can see it's in layer 2 utilizing the info box, and I can just click on some of the text and verify that that's all in layer 2 also. So now I'm going to hit Control W, and I'm going to deactivate layer 2, or just hide it. Hit L for layers, and scroll up to layer 2, and hide it. And now, an additional thing that I need to do is on this elevation text is actually change the line weights of the elevations. And what I'm going to do in order to do that is zoom up first and make sure those lines are very thin. And I can click on one, just select it, and it'll tell me right here that in the info box that the line width is 0. So we're going to want to change all of those line widths for all those elevation layers. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that right now. Control W. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of those elevation layers. And while I'm at it, I'm going to hit L and call up layer 20, because that's our lines layer. And that gives us the line types, line weights and stuff that we want for various aspects of the drawing. I'm clicking OK. Now I'm going to hit L for layers one more time, and I'm going to select just the actual elevation layers. That's layer 45. Hold down Control, hit layer 47. That highlights it also, and then hold down Control, hit 49, and then finally layer 51. So I've selected these elevation drawing layers, not the text layers, or actually I've highlighted them. So now I'm going to right click on one, and I'm going to go down here in the list to select highlighted layers. I hit that and click OK. And now you can see that just these highlighted elevation layers are selected. So now I can hit Z for zoom and zoom over here in our lines, and I'm going to zoom up a little further in the elevation area. And so now I can pull up my info box and use the same as command. So I want to elevation new walls. I'm going to use the same as and just click on that line type, hit Control W, and now I can zoom up on one of these elevations and see that the lines are now heavier lines. And if I want to know exactly what type they are, I can click on the info box on the line area here and see that they're all 0.04 in line width. So I've changed all those basically at one time. Just click on OK, Control W, or click on my drawing, Control W, and so now we've corrected all that. The only other thing that I really need to do to these elevation drawings is I need to draw corner trim. So what I'm going to do in order to do that, and our corner trim is essentially a 1x4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually change the line weights before I do these drawings. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these line weights in a slightly different layer. So I'm going to hit Z for zoom and zoom up on these elevation lines again. And if elevations new other, I click on that line and I want to know what that line width is. And here I can see that the line width is 0.03. It's a little bit thinner line than the 0.04. And that's the line width I want to use for my corner trim. So I'm just going to click somewhere in the drawing to unselect that. Now I'm going to go up to my line types, and I'm going to use the same as command. This is my line toolbox up here. I'm going to use the same as command and click on this elevations new other line, and you can see that that has changed to it's still a solid line, line type 0, with a line width of 0.03, and it's going to be a filled line. So it'll be the same. I'm going to hold down Control and use the scroll button and get a little bit closer here so you can see that this is a little bit thinner than the 0.04. Now I'm hit Control W to zoom back out. So now in each one of these layers, I'm in layer 45 right now. I'm going to hit Z for zoom and zoom up on this first front or north elevation. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select one of these walls here and hit F2, which is parallel by distance. And so right now, so the dialog box has come up. I'm going to select that and type 3.5 inches. And it's also, you notice that it has selected entities only already checked. And that's because I had this selected before I hit the F2. So it kind of defaults to that. So now I can just click to the inside of it, and that should actually, this should be 3.5 inches. And yeah, and which is 0.2917 feet. And I just come to the inside of it and click. And I'm going to select this one and hit F2 again, and it still defaults to that 0.2917, which is 3.5 inches. And I just come to the inside of it and click, and then click again. So these are a little bit too long, so I need to trim them to the actual bottom of the siding line. So hit Escape, and I can just hit E that'll trim from here to here, E, and trim from here to here. So now I have my corner trim in there. Control W. So that was in layer 45. This one I want to be in layer 47 because that's my left layer, or in this case east. And so I'm going to zoom up on that. I'm going to do the same thing. Even though these are all laying on their sides or upside down or whatever, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to hit F2. And it'll continue to be the same line weight. And actually what I'm going to do, hit escape. I'm going to select this one, then hit F2. And now I need to recheck selected entities only. And pull it down and just click. And then select this one, hit F2. And it's still at 0.2917. And just click to the inside there and click. And I'm good. So now all I need to do is hit E to trim these to the bottom of the siding. And that guy's done. And so to check this, you can click on the trim line, and you can see it's in layer 47, exactly where I wanted it to be. So now I'm hit Control W. So now I'm going to change my active layer to layer 49, and that's up here in the layer toolbox is a really handy place to do that because it's just right there. So I'm going to hit Z for zoom, and I'm going to zoom up on this rear or south elevation in this case, and once again I'm going to select the wall line, hit F2. We still have our 0.2917. I'm going to click to the inside and then click again. Select this one, hit F2, and click to the inside and click again. And so I have those now. Now I'm going to trim those to the siding, to the bottom of the siding, hit E, click on the trim line, and then the bottom of the siding line, hit E, click on the trim line and the bottom of the siding, that trims it right to it. Control W. Now the only one we have left to put corner trim on is our right side or west elevation, and hit Z for zoom and zoom up there. And this will be in layer 51. So I'm going to click on 51. That makes it our current active layer. I'm clicking on selecting this side, hitting F2 again and pulling it up, and then clicking one time on the inside of it and then clicking again to activate it. Now I'm selecting this wall line, hit F2 again, click it on the inside, and then clicking again, and hitting escape. I'm hitting E to trim this one to the bottom of the siding, and hitting E to trim this one to the bottom of the siding, hitting Control W. So now we have our corner trim on all four of our elevations, and we're currently in layer 51. That's our current active layer. And so we still have sheet notes that we have to deal with. And so to deal with these sheet notes, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the drawing where these elevation drawings are going to end up, and that's our site plan drawing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the Open File icon and click on that. And I'm going to go down here to where it says our site plan, which is D0614T1 Site 1. And I'm going to go ahead and open that. Take a click on it once to see it over here, and then open it. It looks like the right drawing. And so so I have looks like I have an extra line here. I'm going to click on that and delete. Get rid of that. We don't need that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom up on these sheet notes, on the sheet note legend, hitting Z for zoom so I can see what I have here. So we're finished with the site plan as far as needing any additional sheet notes for the site plan. I'm going to zoom back out, Control W, and hit Z for zoom, and just see if there's anything that I can see that I might need to add notes about, but I think we're covered on that. We have all of our setback lines and our property lines are already noted, and the existing residents and all that. So Control W. So I'm going to zoom back to our sheet note legend, and so we started with sheet note 1 and went on down through sheet note 7. So what we're going to want to do with our elevation drawings is start at sheet note 8. So all of these guys only have one row of text. So here's what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to call in the same sheet note legend into our elevation drawing, but we won't start entering sheet notes in the legend until sheet note 8. So it sounds a little confusing, but we're going to get there. Okay, so I'm going to, right now, I'm going to just Control W, and I'm going to go up here to the Windows drop-down menu, click on that, and go back to my working drawing, W1, and click on that. And I'm going to save it while I'm at it. So in our working drawing, we have because we have our exterior openings on layer 3 opened up, we still have exterior openings in the middle, but that's not going to bother us for right now. So what I want to do is I'm going to put these sheet notes in an elevation text layer. So my first elevation is in layer 45. I hit L for layer so you can see that. So you can see is our first elevation drawing is layer 45. My first text is in layer 46. So I want layer 46 to be my current active layer, because I can import a sheet note legend in there, and it's not going to get confused with anything else. So I'm going to click OK, and so I'm going to hit Control F9. And so what I'm going to do is right now it's in the Sim folder. I'm going to go up one level to all the symbols folder. So I'm going to go down to Sheet, and I'm going to click twice to open the sheet. Clicking twice will open the Sheet folder. And so now you can see the sheet folder, and Sheet Note Legend 1 is the one I want to import into there. So I'm just going to click on it once, and that looks like the right drawing. And I'm going to click Open. I'm going to right click to put it up here in the upper right hand corner where it'll of our border right there. It'll snap right to it. If I right click, and it's a symbol, so it's only showing the 4 corners of the symbol. So I'm going to hit Explode to explode the symbols. So I'm going to hit Escape, and now since in our site plan 1 through 7 sheet notes were already utilized in the site plan, we're going to start with sheet note 8. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom up on this, and just to keep everything, maybe zoom up a little bit further. Yeah. Just to keep everything, to keep it honest. So what we're going to do is we know that sheet note 7 in the site plan. I'm going to click back to the site plan, so you can take a look here. Sheet note 7, I'm going to zoom up on the sheet note legend for that one also. Sheet note 7 was a single line of sheet note text. So that means that in my working drawing, which I'm going to click back to now, 1 through 7 are already used up. However, what we're going to do is, so I'm going to get rid of 1 through 6. I don't need them, so I'm just going to delete them. And sheet note 7 is only a one-liner, and I'm going to need to move all this text up accordingly. So I'm going to just select the lower text and hit delete, and then hit Control W to zoom way back out. And now I'm going to zoom up a little bit further on a little bit more closely to the sheet note legend, and I'm going to select everything below sheet note 7 and get near the handle there and hit M, or actually hit the comma, which is gravity move. And now I'm going to hit M, hold down Shift and up arrow 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and then hit Enter. So that's relocated our text. We're going to use this sheet note 7 box to set a handle to import this information into our site plan. So we're not going to put any text, because we already have text in there on our site plan, but I'm just going to use this to set a handle. So now we have to address our sheet notes themselves for the elevation drawings. And so we've done those a while back, and I'm going to go back to Google Sheets and click on that. And the elevation sheet notes are over here, all the way over to the left. And you can see that some of those are 2-liners, some of them are 1 single-liners, and so there's sort of a hodgepodge. So we're going to repeat the process that we've done before, and I'm going to select these first 2 lines, and hold down Control and select them both. And right-click and just copy. Oh, it only copied the one. Hit Escape. I'm just going to hit Escape. Okay, so I'm going to select both of these. And Control-C. That's an easier way. Now you can see my dashed line has selected both of those lines to make sure that I have them both. Click back into Dcad down here at the bottom. And this is fine, because, let me hit Z for zoom, because this is set up for 2 lines, and scroll down just a little bit. And so this will be I'm going to put all these in layer 46 for now. It's just easier. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit on the text toolbox here, I'm going to hold it down and go to the multi-line text block and open that. Now my text is the right size and my line spacing is correct at 0.5. My text is the right size at 0.35, but my angle is 0. So I want to change that, highlight that, type in 90. And now I can click into my text box and Control V, and that'll paste the text in from my Google Sheets. And now you can see it as I move up into the drawing, and I can just now, I can actually click in the title bar there and right click at the top here and hit enter, select text, and then delete. Okay, and now I can go back to my Google Sheets and turn this text red. So in order to do that, I have to go here and to hit the A there and just click on the red. And so that you can see that turn red. That way I know that I've already done it. Now these next two are single liners, so I'm going to go back into Dcad and move those other sheet notes up. For single liners. I got two of them there. So I'm back into Dcad and I'm going to right click or just select that lower one, hit delete, and once again the lower one, hit delete, and I'm going to hold down my control button and use my scroll button just to zoom out a little bit further. And so I'm going to select this, all of these below here, letting the upper one stay there. And go to my handle, gravity move using the comma, hit M, hold down shift and arrow up 3 small spaces. Enter. Hit escape. Now I'm selecting my next one down and all of the sheet note boxes with it. Going near my handle, gravity move using the comma, hit M for move, hold down shift for small cursor step sizes, and arrow up 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then hit enter again. So now these two single liners are in the right location. So now I'm going to go back to Google Sheets. I'm going to select my next one down, talking about the trim, hit Control C, go back into Dcad, and this one I'm just going to select it, hit the info box, select the text, Control V, and hit enter. And I'm going to zoom up onto that. Okay. Z for zoom and zoom up on that area. Okay, so that's my rustic corner trim, and that needs to actually go black, so I'm going to go over to my color toolbox, click on the A to turn that one black, go back to my Google Sheets and turn that one red. Okay, so next one's Architectural Grade Comp Roofing, so I'm going to select that one, Control C to copy it to the clipboard, go back to Dcad, select the text in the drawing, and then select it in the dialog in the info box and hit Control V, and then hit enter. And then go over here to the color toolbox, turn it black. Okay, so now I have 3 sheet notes already. Now I'm going to go back to Google Sheets and turn this one red. Go to the A and hit red, so that's been used. So this next one's a 2-liner, so I don't have to move all the text down. So I'm just going to click in it and hold down my button and select them both. Hit Control C to copy them, and again you can see the dashed line has selected both of those cells. And I'm going back into Dcad now, and I'm going to go now to my text block and click on that, and then hit Control V and replace the previous text I had in there with a new text. I can just bring it on over here and then just right click and hit my scroll button, and it places it exactly where it needs to go. And I'm going to select these red text words, and you can see that they're red. I got them both, and hit delete to get rid of those. So now I'm going to go back to Google Sheets again and turn this guy red, because it's been done. Now we have another single liner. So I'm going to click on this and hit Control C, and that copies it to the clipboard. Go back into Dcad, but now I'm going to hit Control W just to zoom back out. And actually I'm going to save. It's probably a good time to save, because I got to move these guys up a little bit. So I'm hitting Z for zoom to zoom up on the sheet note legend, getting rid of the lower text on that one, and hitting delete, and then selecting all of these text boxes below it. Go to my handle and get near it and gravity move using the comma. Hit M to move. Hold down Shift and arrow up 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to hit Enter. Okay, so that's moved all of these text boxes further up. So I'm hit Z for zoom, and I can just change this text, or there's a number of ways I can deal with it. But I'm going to, this time I'm just going to do it a little differently. I'm going to zoom up on that text a little bit closer, hit T for text, and this time I'm going to hit Control V to place it in there. And now this time it's going to end up at the lower left of the text, because that's where the handle is. I'm going to click up here in the title, and then right click at the lower left of that text, and then hit my scroll button, and it places it in there. Now I can select that text, hit delete. It's out of there, and now I can go back into Google Sheets and turn this guy red, because it's been entered. Now I have a 2-liner, so I'm just going to select both of those cells, hit Control C. It means I don't have to move. Go back into Dcad, and I'm going to use the text block command again. I'm clicking on that, and the previous entries are already selected, and I'm hit Control V, and that replaces them. And then I'm going to come over here and right click at the top left of the text, and then hit my scroll button, and it places it in there. And I can select these 2 red ones now and hit delete. So I'm going to go back into Google Sheets and turn those guys red. And now I'm going to click on my next sheet note, which has to do with continuous metal gutters, and hit Control C to copy it. And again, you see that dashed line around it, letting you know that you selected that cell and copied that cell. Selected it anyway. Back into Dcad, hitting Control W to zoom out, hit Z for zoom, and zoom up so I can see the sheet note legend a little better. I'm selecting my lower text and deleting that, and then selecting everything below. Going to my handle near it, and gravity move using the comma, hit M for move, hold down Shift, and arrow up 3 small cursor steps, and hit Enter. So that's moved all that stuff up. And then I'm going to right click on this lower text, because I have 2 of them to deal with. Might as well do them both now, and hit delete on that one. And again, I'm selecting all this stuff below and getting near my handle and gravity move and using the comma, and hit M for move, hold down Shift and arrow up 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and hit Enter. Okay, so that's located everything in case I end up putting any additional notes in for whatever reasons. It happens. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to Google Sheets, and this has already been copied in. So I'm going to just go up here and select the text, select it in the info box, Control V, hit Enter, and then go over here to the color and turn it black. Okay, and that's, you can see, it's kind of small, but you can see continuous metal gutter there. Typical. Okay, so now I'm going back to Google Sheets, turning that one red. And I have 1 remaining, continuous ridge vent. Typical. Okay, so I'm going to select that last one and hit Control C, and that copies it. And I'm going back into Dcad now, and I'm going to change that text I think I'll use the text command this time. I'm going to zoom up a little closer just for fun. And hit T for text. And see, it's the previous one that we used entered in with the text command is already selected, so I'm hit Control V, and that replaces it. And now I'm going to right-click at the lower left corner of the text. Right-click, there it goes, and I hit my scroll button, and it pops it into place. Now I can select the red portion there, hit Delete, and hit Control W. And I also need to go back to Google Sheets and change the color of this last one because it has been entered into Dcad. So I'm going back into Dcad now. Google Sheets saves automatically, so you don't have to hit the save command with it. Whether you like it or not, it saves it. Dcad, I'm going to go ahead and save. And so what we've done is we've placed these additional text notes, sheet notes into the sheet note legend that will be incorporated into our site plan sheet note legend. And so that concludes Dcad lesson 14A, having to do with elevations, and essentially we just installed the sheet note legend for our elevation drawings. And that's it.